You're watching What She Said on YouTube.
Your annual performances at Youth Day Toronto are the most anticipated for the audience of more than 30,000. How does that make you feel?
I like it.
You like it?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what else I can say. I mean, when you go up there, 30,000 people, and you're performing, and you see all the people, right? You see them there, and they vibe off your music and they enjoy your music. You know, it's a good feeling. It's like, you know, whatever you're doing, it makes sense, right? Yeah. It's working.
So how does it feel when you hear people compare you to Drake?
I like it. Yeah. But on the other hand, I don't want to be living in someone else's shadow. I mean, people say I sound like him. People say I talk like him. Or my music, you know, kind of streams from whatever his idea is. But at the end of the day, I still want to be my own person.
Okay, so you're only 17. So when did you start? At 2?
I actually started, it's a funny story. At the end of elementary school, it was kind of like a hobby, something that I just got into casually. I had a lot of friends in my neighborhood. In the neighborhood that I lived in, they were just into hip-hop. They loved hip-hop, and that was the only thing they listened to. And at the start of it, I didn't like hip-hop at all. So one day I went over their house, and they were there. They were writing their music to instrumentals and stuff. And I would listen to them. I would hear the way they go about doing their craft. And one day one of them, you know, they turned to me, and he's like, you know, why don't you try it? Like, why don't you sit down? Why don't you write something? And, you know, I didn't know I was capable of doing it, so I was skeptical, you know, in terms of that whole idea, but I got into it that first try, and when I finished writing, they were like, "Wow, you know, I wasn't ready for that. Like, I didn't think you were gonna be able to do that." And ever since then, I kept on doing it, and it was more of a casual thing until one day I showed it to my parents. Now, my parents, that was like probably the most interesting thing I had to go through. I told them. Because I always used to jump from, you know, Dad, Mom, I want to be this, or I want to be that, and the interest died out. It faded away after a while, but it was something new when I came to them, and I was like, I want to make music. Like, I want to be exactly like my idols.
How old were you when you made that decision?
Roughly 12, 13.
And your parents' reaction?
No. You're not ready for that. You know, you can't do that. I know you can't do that. And that kind of drove me. It was something that drove me. I looked at him and I'm like, you know, I'm going to hold on to this and I'm going to keep doing it and I'm going to show you that what I'm capable of doing, you know, it's something different. And I kept on going at it. I bought my first microphone. I used GarageBand off a Mac computer that I got, and I just made music from there. And I got connected with a friend of a friend, which was a producer. His name is Francis. Got heat, credibility to him. He put me on in terms of production, and we started making music from then on. And, you know, I branched out to my different connections in the city, and I am where I am today. I mean, I just came back from LA not too long ago. Most likely going to New York next month, and then LA again after that. I'm a spokesperson for LAYN. It's a fundraiser in Los Angeles.
That's the Los Angeles Youth Network.
Yeah.
So tell us why this cause is so important to you.
See, like, I didn't have a lot when I first started. All of the stuff that I've earned in terms of, like, you know, doing stuff on my own, it was all from nothing, you know? And it bugs me when I see kids that are in my position or were in my position where they say, you know, I want to do something, but I don't know what it is. You know, I want to make a difference, but I don't know what to do. Mm-hmm. And somebody needs that role model, and somebody needs that person to look up to. So, you know, at the end of the day, they can say, I want to be like him because he's doing something different. And that's who I'm trying to be. I'm trying to be that person that people can look up to in a positive way and say, you know, he's who I wish to be, because...
So you really enjoy mentoring?
Oh, like you cannot imagine. I mentor my younger siblings, my cousins, everything. I like showing an example because there's a lot of bad examples out there, and it's hard to find somebody who has a good one.
Did you find that when you were growing up, that people said, nah, you can't do this, you can't do that.
All the time.
These are all the reasons why, and you're, yeah?
All the time. I've never once, and this includes my immediate family, like never once have I said, guys, like, you know, I come freely to them saying something and they accepted it freely. Because they always had doubt, or they always had a second thought about everything. And that's something, you know, that you know, you kind of have to walk through. And it's like, I need to prove, you know, these people that whatever I feel in my heart, or whatever I feel, it's true. And I have to do it because I enjoy it. And I want people to see that I enjoy it.
But to give some sort of credit to your parents, I mean, at some point they're thinking, because you just admitted that you were a little wishy-washy about changing your mind about things you wanted to do.
Yeah.
So they were probably worried about your future. And I mean, let's face it, there's a million people out there that want to become, you know, a hip-hop artist or a rapper. Like, I think maybe they were trying to protect you to a certain extent.
Oh no, don't get me wrong. Everybody thinks that being an artist is you know,
it's a snap.
Outlandish. Well, like not to mention it just being a snap. It's outlandish. Like how many people can just wake up in the morning and say, I'm gonna be a celebrity, and I'm gonna make $1 million, and I'm gonna change the world, and from night to day it's gonna happen. Nobody, because if it was easy, everybody would be doing it.
Right. So what made you special?
The drive. You know, the path to getting to that stature, I feel, is more important than that stature alone, because you have to go through a lot of things before you can even say I'm worth that much. I'm worth the opportunity for people to take a listen, and for people to hear my perspectives, and for people to understand where I'm coming from and take my advice. And you know, whatever I say, it's like I can listen to him because he is who he is for a reason. And that path has to be the most important part.
Well, if 30,000 people want to listen to you most at Youth Day, what's the message you're giving them?
Positivity. I mean, Home of the Brave was based as a personal anthem. Home of the Brave was based on me, you know, striving through music and me trying to make that difference through music. Because Home of the Brave, you can even hear it in the chorus, like, I literally have done it. It's a literal term. I do stay up every night. I do think about these things because, you know, it's a lot of thought process to what ifs or maybes or what if this doesn't go through, and if it doesn't, what's going to happen next?
Right.
So that personal anthem is for people to listen to, and when they listen to it, you know, whatever problems they have, whether it is family, whether it is their job, or whether it is their dreams, they have something to look forward to. They can wake up in the morning and say, you know what, I can do this.
Yeah. So you find it's really important to keep in touch with your fans on social media, too. You answer.
Without fans, what am I? You get me? I mean, I can make the best music in the world. I can make the worst music in the world. But if there's no one there to listen, what's the point of making it at all?
If a tree falls in the forest.
And no one's around to hear it, it doesn't make a sound.
Right. But you're making a sound. So what's the message through positivity? Like, where did it come from? You were bullied as a child?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
How were you bullied?
I'm not trying to be mean, but I was super ugly when I was younger. So.
You're being mean about yourself. You're entitled to do that.
And a lot of that bullying, it was like, you know what? You know, you're so ugly as a kid. You're like, I was really chubby too. You were really chubby as a kid. I didn't even have like a circle of friends to play at recess with, let alone have somebody to talk to about my problems. And bullying was kind of like, I wake up in the morning, I'm going to go to school and I'm going to get bullied. You know, I couldn't avoid it, but it was like second nature, just like school was, that I was going to get bullied. You know, I mean, bullying will exist. It'll always exist. It still exists today when people say, you know, you don't make good music. People say, you know what, you're really bad at doing what you do and you're never going to make it. But it's inside me to ignore that kind of thing because my faith is stronger than that. And my faith being stronger then helped me get through bullying the way it was before. I mean, I don't know. I have an article that I read. I have an article I wrote on Bullyville. That thing, I don't even know how much views it got. I think it was like 2-3 million views.
That's all.
And I was bullied, like, physically, emotionally, like, everything. I remember one time I tried to stand up to a bully. I remember his name, and his name was Kyle. And he was twice my size. You know, I was chubby. I was a stubby little kid. I looked like a dwarf, like from the fairy tales and stuff. And he like knocked me left and right. And I remember he left me bleeding. But you know that still doesn't stop me.
Did you talk to your parents about that?
Yeah.
And
The funniest twist to that is because this guy was kind of like, he was a friend of the family, but he acted like a friend of the family when my parents were around. So they were like, no, Kyle's not like that. Kyle's a good boy. You know, Kyle's never capable of doing such a thing. And, you know, he'd always act so nice to me. And I'm like, Mom, you don't listen to me. He really does this. And he was a good kid at school. Like, you know, that portrayal, that image that you give off, right? And nobody would listen to me. Everybody thought I was the bad one for accusing people, you know, out of the air.
You're watching What She Said on YouTube.
Being compared to Drake, you're inspired by artists like Eminem, I mean, who isn't, and 50 Cent.
Mm-hmm.
But what do you think? You're all about empowering youth, anti-bullying, giving back for, you know, giving thanks for what you've got, giving back. So what do you think when you see young Canadian artists like Justin Bieber just like going off the rails? I'm sorry to bring up the name, but I really want to know what somebody that's so involved with the community thinks about that kind of person's behavior.
What happened to him? Like, he used to be such a nice guy. I guess, you know, he consumed himself with the wrong kind of idea of what his power was, right? You know, how old is he? I don't know.
I think he's like 18, 19 now, isn't he? 19, yeah. 19, maybe 20.
If you're 19 and you have like over $10 million, I think, you know, you'd get out of hand.
So you shake your head at this like we do.
Oh yeah. I don't think he should be doing what he's doing. He has the wrong role models, if anything. But you know, his parents. Well, I don't want to put his parents in it, but like.
Oh, I think they're right in it already. I think you're fine.
I don't know. I just think that he feels that whatever he's doing is okay because of the level he's on, and it shouldn't be like that because.
Yeah, I mean, but the level he's on, why? Because if you have money, you can be rude and disrespectful.
Yeah, and I don't agree with that at all.
Or if you have a Grammy, I mean, you know...
How do you get there? How do you get there? From, I mean, here you are, you're a nice kid. You're all about giving back. You're all about empowering people. And you're about the music, which is what he was a little while ago. So what do you think happens?
He forgets. See, this is what really aggravates me. He forgets where he came from.
Right.
He forgets that, you know, he used to sit with his guitar in front of a theater and play music for money. And now that he has all this money, he doesn't have to do that kind of thing anymore because he feels like he's above everybody else. But at the same time, you know, he's the same flesh and blood that he was way back then. But he just grew up. And you know, if you're a kid that lives all the way out in
Cambridge, or I don't know.
Stratford. You know, if he goes all the way out there, and then the next thing you know, he's in the middle of L.A. and everybody's giving him all this attention. He makes his first song. He makes a couple $1 million. You know, he feels like he is the king of the world, and it was that easy for him. You know, he had it that easy for him, and that's what ruined him because everything that he got, I think, is a handout. And if he hears this, I'm happy he hears it because it's a handout. Right? Mm-hmm. He didn't have to work that hard. You know, he posted a couple videos on YouTube, he gets signed, and then the rest of the world gets handed to him.
Except for the fact that that's happened to other people before, and they don't behave like that. Can you ever... You're 17.
Yeah.
Let's say this next tape that's coming out, which is called Mixtape, War or Words?
Wall of Words.
Wall of Words. Okay, mistype here. Let's say this goes viral. Mm-hmm. Let's say it morphs into something where you make, I don't know, $50 million. Mm-hmm. Can you ever see yourself being that guy?
Never. And we're having this conversation right now.
Yeah.
It's being recorded. I can say that I will never be like that.
And we'll play it back for you if it does.
Play it back.
And so is it a value system then that's lacking? Because...
I mean, think about it this way. Hold on. Think about it this way. Okay. Let's just say you bought a car, okay, and you worked 10 years to get to that car. It was a sports car. You love it dearly. You don't want to destroy the car. You don't want nothing to happen to that car because you spent so much time and you spent so much effort trying to get it. Now, if somebody just gave it to you, one day to the next, do you think you'll respect it the same way because you didn't have to do anything to get it?
Yes, I do, because I would be saying, thank you, God. This was the bonus. Okay. This was the luckiest thing that ever happened to me. I'm blessed.
I'm asking the wrong person then.
I think you have to. I think you feel better about stuff when you earn it. I saved for my first car. My father told me, what you save, I will match you dollar for dollar, which gave me incentive to save more. Also gave me incentive to cheat just a little bit. I borrowed some money from my friends to boost up the pot. Let's be honest about it. But he admired that. He thought that showed potential for, taking advantage of him, which, girls and their dads, round the little finger. Yeah. But you do. I think you feel better when you have worked to earn something. You feel better about it. Yeah. Absolutely.
I mean, I'm speaking from my point of view. If it was handed to me, I don't think I'd respect it the same way, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, like I've been working really hard. And to say that I haven't won a Grammy yet, I'm not even mad. Because if I did make one song and won a Grammy off it, I would think that everything else is just that easy. And I'd lose that sense of respect. Mm-hmm. And without respect, there is no value. And without value, what is anything?
What comes first to you, the music or the lyrics?
What do you mean?
That's when you're in a creative process. Are you writing the words?
Well, my creative process goes exactly like this. I work with a producer that's in England, London, England, like from the UK. And we sit down through Skype, and he plays me this music, and he, it's not like, okay, I'm feeling this way, I want you to give me something like this. He plays something, and he keeps on going through tracks until something really moves me. And it happens, rarely, because we spend a lot of time doing that. And when we do get that one project to start working on, it's something that I felt at a certain time, and I'll match it with the lyrics. Actually, that's how Home of the Brave was made. I mean, we met each other, and we spoke a long time trying to get to know each other, and we did. We sat down, we went through all of these records, playing it, next one, let's filter through all of these ones, and Home of the Brave. The instrumental came, and that's the exact kind of thing I wanted to start with, that uplifting, that, anthem, when you listen to it, it just brings up your mood, and everything just comes naturally after that, because it comes from the heart.
So are we going to hear something?
Like an a cappella?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's written, right? But I have a lot of stuff that I've written, but it's never going to get released, so I save that for special occasions like this.
So this is a one-off, sort of?
This is an original?
It's something that's never going to get released.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Well, it's going to be released on YouTube.
Well, I guess it's an exclusive.
Yeah. An exclusive. Okay.
Okay. It's lengthy. I don't know if you guys have time for that.
You got 4.5 minutes.
That's enough time. Collect my corroding ashes and stash it in a white casket, and stack my bones up in a wooden basket. What do you see? If you send it off to the ends and depths of the oceans, I assure you this isn't the end of the next jam prodigy. I tell you just who I be. This Rezzi the ruler, with the flick of the wrist, without chalking on the chalkboard. I guarantee you that I could school you. Someone hand me some gardening gloves, cause I'ma take it to the roots. I got a different blueprint for this takeover. Soda, Jigger man better send me the noose. I'm from the side, with you skinny, you don't survive. Anybody try to do they thing to mold they light. If you ain't molding the light, you dream of throwing the rock. And if you ain't throwing the rock, then you put in the pot and you cook it. I just hustle like it's 90s in Brooklyn. Aftermarket in the back, ain't no way that you shook 'em. You can make the charts, make the hook, make the look, but stop fronting, ain't no way that you book 'em. They see me, and this out envy, and wanna put dirt upon my name even when I ain't on TV. Just explain to me what that means to me. Is it my fault I make hating so easy? I came through in the quarter so lifeless. I breathe the epitome priceless. I'm a prophet that put it upon himself to rescribe the image that once upon a time just lacked behind your eyelids. And the trees will grow past the moon, leaking pure ivy as Moses allowed the sea to run red. And with a man sitting on his well-deserved handcrafted throne with gold from the tips of his toes to the tops of his head, I said, can you define greatness? Matter of fact, retract that. Can you define glory? I'm nothing more than the product of my creator, or the product of my creation. I'm sorry. But could I face it? I was never too basic. You can talk the talk, but I can walk the walk too. They say in third eye, but you ain't staring now. There ain't no tolerance for my toxins, so air it out, breathe. I'm the reason why you believe the lotus rain from the heavens touched her and it was conceived. The form of which I'm speaking is the death of the disease. I ain't the last, but the one to rebuild this dying breed. Now he advised me, never look into the rear view glass. Even in the sixth gear, you'll never go too fast. Now I replied, isn't it greener on the other side? Homie, he said, nah, that's astroturf, not grass. I believed in what he said. He wasn't the type to speak out of his... came from so many angles. He came from so many angles. I gave myself whiplash. But was it real? Angels did not carry me as I crashed. The shadows pull me through the gates as they laugh. What a monster. Prisoner to my own mind, I acknowledge but do yield caution. I was built for domination in battle without oxygen. There ain't no top light. There ain't no stopping him. Throw bullets and swords, but you cannot throw rocks at him. Can you believe? My heart sits upon my sleeve. It bleeds crimson. Now does it all exist? Key the ignition and roll with the wheels fall off. Complete your mission. Realize the real definition of real demolition. Yeah.
Well done.
Well done.
And he even censored himself on a slightly dirty word. Well done, because it is a clean channel. That's awesome.
Awesome, yeah.
So well done, really good. Now what have you got coming up? When's your next performance? You got performances coming up? Are you on tour? Are you going around the place?
I have to keep that a secret.
Oh.
Well, you'd have to kill us if you told us.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, then don't tell us because we'll be following you. You have a website. Tell fans where they can get more information about you.
Well, for right now, the website's still in like we're building it. So it's the Twitter at the real Rezzi. So the RealRezzi, and Instagram is I am Rezzi.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today. And we need to say to everyone, we do have witnesses. So when you win your first Grammy, first media outlet you're going to is What She Said.
What she said.
Okay.
Click the channel subscribe button for full-length interviews and more from What She Said here on YouTube.